There with the decrepit old has-beens, I guess.
The feud continues to escalate
okay.
until it reaches...
What's up, squad? It's your Squid. You know what the video is about because you've already seen the title. It's been requested a whole bunch of times, so I'm hoping that it doesn't get blocked like a bunch of my videos have recently and all that jazz. But yeah, back with NASCAR, giving this a look, and I'll get straight into it because you already know, you've clicked the title, right? I'm not sure if I'm going to do this in two parts or one part, like 2 parts or 3 parts. My camera only films for 29 minutes and 59 seconds, so like the video we're reacting to goes for 38 and a bit minutes, so it's definitely going to be a multi-parter, but I'm not sure if it's going to be 2 or 3. We'll see, right?
Use your signal!
If you,
When you're stuck in traffic, it's easy to lose your...
If you want to watch this video without my reaction to it, if you want to go and give it a look, the link is right at the bottom of the description. Really good content creator. Obviously, you will enjoy it just like I'm sure I'm about to enjoy it. Links at the bottom of the description. Go and give it a like.
Tempered. Sometimes
then come back here and watch me as well.
Drivers so insanely idiotic that they make us question who decided to give them a license. Driving this poorly should be a crime. Sometimes it is, and the problem elegantly solves
negligent
itself.
driving, right?
But most of the time, the idiot just gets away scot-free. Not content with the unfairness of it all, a few of us will try to take justice into our own hands, often with less than fortunate results.
Oh, that's rough.
Before you plan an act of road retribution, you may want to seek out wisdom from the experts.
Oh, no.
Motorsports
Red
feature
Bull
the most
NASCAR
talented
too.
drivers in the
NASCAR
world,
car.
but they still succumb to the same emotions as the rest of us.
Tony Stewart, I'm
With
pretty sure.
potentially millions of dollars on the line, patience on the racetrack runs very thin. Auto racing provides a unique opportunity for drivers to destroy each other's vehicles
Straight
without
into the
any
wall.
legal or financial repercussions. In series like NASCAR, the cars are durable enough to dish out some serious punishment without jeopardizing themselves. Most racing accidents are just that, accidents.
Yeah.
But in NASCAR, a few wrecks are not just intentional.
That's Bush.
but
That's when everyone hated
premeditated.
Bush.
On track, the best drivers are just as skilled at retaliation as they are at racing. Revenge in NASCAR comes in many forms, some more elegant than others.
Yeah. A lot of the time you wreck yourself as well.
Without wrecking yourself.
The most proficient retaliators are discreet enough to make you think twice over whether or not it was even on purpose. But by far the most entertaining revenge is the opposite
deliberate
of
one.
discreet.
Yeah.
In this video, I'm going to talk
that's
about
dangerous.
7 cases of revenge
Nearly killed
so
the bloke.
outrageously blatant that nobody could see it as anything other than pure, unadulterated retribution.
Nice.
Our first tale comes from the winding turns of
See what I mean?
Sonoma,
Good content
California,
creator, you know?
one of the few road courses on the NASCAR schedule. These types of tracks give NASCAR drivers the opportunity to do something they rarely ever get to do: turn right.
And out they go.
Sonoma's most eventful right turn is without a doubt turn 11, a tight hairpin that forces drivers to decelerate from 120 to 40 miles per hour in just a few seconds.
Ooh, wow.
In one race, 2 drivers are about to get very familiar with turn 11 and each other.
That's Tony Stewart on the right. I didn't recognize the one on the
It's
left.
lap 37 of the
Straight off
2011
the bat.
Toyota Safe Mart 350. Tony Stewart has a fast car, but he's stuck back in traffic. Tony's getting a bit frustrated with Brian Vickers, who refuses to give up his position. By the time they reach turn 11, Tony has had enough.
He's just going to bump and run. Throw him into a bunch of other people, go right around
One of
him.
the most formidable and aggressive drivers in the sport. If you raced him the wrong way, he would not hesitate to take
just
you
fuck
out
you
of
off.
contention. Over the years, dozens of drivers have fallen prey to Stewart's retaliation, and for a moment,
I think I've done a
Vickers
video
looked
to
be
him,
yet another
like his
victim.
best moments.
The race continues and Tony works his way through the pack. By lap 85, he's cruising to a top 5 finish when the broadcast cuts to commercial. When they come back, Tony Stewart has been
shit.
sent to the shadow
That's a
realm.
bad time to go to the ad.
It took Brian Vickers more than 50 laps to get back to Stewart, and when he did, he sure made the most of it.
See you
Vickers
later.
hooked Tony at the precise speed and angle to strand him on the tire barrier, knocking him out of the race entirely. A
That's
well-orchestrated act of payback, but one that would ultimately prove inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Vickers may have won the battle that day, but it wouldn't stop Tony Stewart from eventually winning his 3rd and final Cup championship that season.
Alright, so
At
it
the
didn't
very
really matter
least, though,
anyway,
Tony
but...
didn't wreck anyone else for a while after this. They
Yeah.
say that revenge is a dish best served cold, and in NASCAR, some drivers prefer to bide their time before dishing out their payback.
Everybody loves Robbie.
And he's not waiting to get in the ambulance, I don't think.
I think he's waiting to wave to his favorite driver right now.
Gave him the
In
bird,
the
flipped him off.
2000s, Robbie Gordon was possibly the only NASCAR driver more aggressive than Tony Stewart. Robbie was the racing embodiment of chaos. His decisions on the racetrack seemed to be governed entirely by impulse. He would do things on the track that seemed completely pointless to anyone else but him.
This is just what drives me crazy. Robbie Gordon is worried about a lap car, and he lets Tony Stewart take the lead.
That's funny.
These loose cannon antics made him one of the most entertaining drivers to watch. He was the driver to boldly go where no other driver had gone before.
Robbie Gordon, California kid, is going to win the Dodge St. Martin.
Nice, maybe I need to give him a
Robbie
Google,
Gordon
you
was
know?
most well known as one of NASCAR's best
React
road
to his
course
highlights
racers,
or something.
but his most bombastic moments would come at the Magic
Let me know in the
Mile
comment
New
section if that's
Hampshire.
something you want to see.
In 2001, Robbie would infamously score his first ever NASCAR victory there by moving Jeff Gordon out of the way. In the 2004 race, he would get spun by Greg Biffle and then hunt him back down like a heat-seeking missile, taking out two other championship contenders in the process. But believe it or not, this wasn't even the best example of Robbie getting revenge at New Hampshire. So based on what we've seen so far, it's generally a bad idea to piss off Robbie Gordon on the racetrack.
Yeah, or
In
Tony
the
Stewart.
2005 Sylvania 300,
Either one of them.
Michael Waltrip did just that.
Ooh,
By this
that's
season,
unfortunate.
Robbie Gordon had become fed up with answering to any team owner above him, so he opened up his own team. He would
Oh, wow,
win the
okay.
2005 campaign as NASCAR's only owner-driver. Financing your own
That's still
race
pretty
team
cool.
comes with a lot of autonomy, but at the cost of a lot of, well, money.
Expertise,
Any
yeah.
on-track mishaps would now have to come directly out of Robbie's own pocket. Considering his track record at that point, it was a pretty risky spot to be in. So how did Robbie do in his first year as his own boss?
But it became a
Pretty
bit more
awful.
real when he
By
was
September,
paying
he has
the
only
money,
won
you know?
top 10 and has failed to qualify for 4 races. He's sitting a dreadful 36th in points, but he has a pretty decent run going at New Hampshire. That is until, while under caution, Michael Waltrip
rough.
hooks him into the wall and totals his car. Needless
He'd
to
be
say,
pissed.
Robbie Gordon is not happy.
Number 15, then he said, NASCAR, I hope you're listening. I will pay Michael Waltrip back.
Wow, that was dumb. You
Robbie
could have got
vows
hit by a
revenge
car.
against Michael, but after many months of inaction, everyone has pretty much forgotten about it. The following July, the Cup Series returns to New Hampshire.
Okay.
In 2006, Waltrip had become the co-owner of his own racing team, and just like Robbie the year before, he was
Right.
struggling. Late in the
Big
race,
race.
Michael finds himself lined up behind who else but Robbie Gordon. Everyone else may have forgotten what happened the year prior, but Robbie sure hasn't.
He held a grudge.
Guys are trying to come back to it. How did that happen? He's crashed back there, broken the record.
Robbie Gordon
Brake
didn't
checked in.
have many victories in his NASCAR career, but when he did win, he made sure to do it in a way
Did he
that
brake
was
check him?
unmistakably his.
Yeah.
Drivers like Robbie are all but extinct in NASCAR today.
I think that's what
but
happened.
Back in the day, it was common to see lots of drivers march to the beat of their own drum. If you were looking for a driver to inspire excitement, then perhaps you'd find it in Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy Spencer. Another name to add to the list of things I need to look up. Again, someone let me know in the
Jimmy
comments,
Spencer
remind
would
me.
get into a litany of fights and altercations over the course of his career, but none was
He was
more
trying to get
heated
through the
than his
window at
feud
the other
with
bloke.
Kurt Busch. At the turn
Oh,
of the
young Kurt
millennium,
Busch,
Kurt
too.
Busch was one of the fastest rising talents in the sport. In 2001, he was promoted to a full-time Cup ride at just the
Right.
age of 22. In his
Young.
rookie season as NASCAR's newest phenom, Kurt Busch got rocked. He finished
Absolutely
27th
wrecked
in
there.
points with 7 DNFs, and his biggest highlight of the year was being the last guy Dale Earnhardt ever flipped off. It's tough being a rookie at NASCAR's highest level. A lesson Kurt learned in the 2001 Phoenix race, where he got turned by Jimmy Spencer in front of the entire field.
Okay.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
Yeah, that's
At this
unfortunate.
point in time, Jimmy Spencer's in the opposite position of Kurt Busch. He's in the
He's on his
twilight of
way
his
out.
career, and his
Yep.
best days are long behind him. But in the 2002 Food City 500
Makes
at
sense.
Bristol, Jimmy Spencer has the opportunity to do something he hasn't done in nearly 8 years: win a Cup Series race. He's running second with just 60 laps to
Kurt's
go.
gonna
and
fuck
really
him,
in the
obviously.
leader. The only problem is that the driver running first is the same guy Jimmy Spencer wrecked just 5 months earlier.
That's
Of
funny.
course, Kurt doesn't cut Jimmy any slack.
Whoa, he hit him, though. Busch got up.
Oh, bump and run.
Jimmy Spencer, you don't see that often.
Yep.
Kurt Busch is a first-time Winston Cup winner at Bristol.
Good on him. Good
On
on
this
him.
day, youth prevails over experience. After the race, however, Spencer ominously warns that the young driver still has much to learn.
There's a lot of things you can and can't do, and one thing you can't do is just beat and bang with people. And some guys have to learn.
Yes, you fucking can.
5 months later at Indianapolis, Spencer punted Busch at over 180 miles per hour.
Oh yeah, that's deliberate.
Kurt is absolutely livid and trashes
was
Spencer
then.
in the post-race interview.
We spun and that put us in a bad position. Back there with the decrepit old has-beens, I guess.
The feud continues to escalate until it reaches a boiling point in the next year's race at Michigan.
We'll have to look at that feud more specifically.
Trying to cut down one of his tires. After the race, Spencer reportedly marched over to Kurt's car and punched him in the face.
Right. He got out of the car, approached Kurt Busch, and actually punched Kurt Busch.
Kurt left with a bloody nose and a chipped tooth, prompting NASCAR to suspend Jimmy Spencer for the next race. Now, at this point, it's important to recall that Jimmy Spencer has thus far demolished 2 of Kurt's race cars in his face, and the fans love him for it. The next race is littered with free Jimmy Spencer signs, and Mr. Excitement is arguably the most popular he's ever been. Sometimes a NASCAR feud represents more than just a simple disagreement between drivers.
People like to see other people punch and cheer for People like seeing people get punched in the mouth.
In the eyes of many fans at the time, Kurt Busch embodied a new wave of prima donna drivers who lacked the struggle and grit of seasoned veterans like Jimmy Spencer.
I mean, what happened last week was an assault after the race, and what had happened leading up to that in the past was I've got 2 wrecked race cars out of it, and I don't respect Jimmy Spencer.
Back in the day, drivers would settle disputes among themselves without any interference from the sanctioning body. Many felt that NASCAR was babying down the sport to conform to a more mainstream image. Too bad for them, NASCAR was entering a new age, whether they were ready or not. Just 1 year afterwards, Kurt Busch would sit atop the sport as champion. Not long after that, Jimmy Spencer would retire and find a new home on the Speed Channel. While Kurt got the best of him in their time as competitors, Jimmy Spencer always finds a way to have the last laugh.
It's time for Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart!
What's that? Oh, so he's just taking a piss out of Kurt.
Despite starting off as polar opposite rivals, Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer didn't end up being so different after all. NASCAR is always changing. Cry as you might, you can't stop the future.
Yeah, alright. How far are we into the video? Yeah, we'll give it another 10 minutes or so, and then I'll wrap up this part.
And almost wrecked him.
Oh, wrecked himself. Did wreck him,
One of Kurt Busch's many career rivalries was a sibling rivalry with his brother Kyle. If Kurt was a can't-miss talent, the younger Busch brother was a generational prodigy. While it took Kurt until age 23 to win in the Cup Series, Kyle did it at just 20 in his rookie season.
Years ahead.
He's in the conversation with Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson as one of the greatest drivers of NASCAR's current era. In 2007,
he's probably up there, you're right.
Drivers raced on the same team, Hendrick Motorsports. Unfortunately, such great amassments of talent don't tend to stick around for very long.
Yeah, they don't gel well.
Kyle Busch wants out at Hendrick. Just like his brother, Kyle Busch had the tendency to lose his temper and had reportedly worn out his welcome with team owner Rick Hendrick. Despite his skirmish with Kurt in the All-Star race, Kyle Busch's greatest rival wouldn't come from his brother. It would come from his replacement.
Earnhardt Jr. Big old crash up there.
In the mid-2000s, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s race team was on a downward spiral, and he was about to become the biggest free agent in all of NASCAR. As the sport's most popular star, Dale Jr. would provide an immediate boon to any team that signed him.
Not being able to use your own fucking
one of the
name.
First team owners to approach Jr. was Rick Hendrick. Beyond the appeal of joining NASCAR's most successful team, Jr. bonded with Rick Hendrick on a very personal level. Both had suffered tragic losses of family members earlier in the decade. With all that considered, Earnhardt and Hendrick were a match that seemed destined to happen.
They may as well.
It's the 2007 Samsung 500 at Texas. On lap 252, Tony Stewart spins and Kyle Busch rear-ends Jr. in the scramble.
Ouch.
Kyle thinks his car is totaled and retires from the race. Unbeknownst to him, however, his pit crew repairs the car and wants to send it back on track to pick up some extra points. The only problem is that Kyle Busch has gone AWOL. The team scurries to find a replacement driver just as Dale Jr. is pulling his wrecked car into the garage.
So does Dale Jr. get into the Busch car?
Dale Jr. ended up finishing the race in Kyle Busch's car that day.
And so today, it is with great honor to introduce my new boss for 2008, Mr. Rick Hendrick.
Right, that would have been a bit touch and go, right?
Bizarre coincidence, or perhaps a covert audition for his next ride. We may never know
that
the
is an
answers,
interesting
but
question.
One thing's for sure, it wouldn't be the last incident involving Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch that season.
Right. I think I have watched something about this where Kyle
Busch
was
is in a
like
fierce battle for the point lead heading into Kansas,
not happy about
while
it.
Jr. is out of championship contention. By this
It's been a while,
point,
so long
well
since I
known
reacted
that
to
Earnhardt
NASCAR
will be
stuff on the
replacing
regular,
Kyle
you know?
Busch at the end of the season, but Kyle is still trying to make the most of his lame duck run by going out with a bang. Just 30 laps in, however, Jr.
Gets
runs
a
over
bump.
Kyle Busch on the backstretch and takes
Spins
him out
up,
of the
goes
race.
back up, hits the
After it was
wall.
over, Jr. apologized and said it was an accident, but Kyle
Was
Busch
it
will
though?
not so easily forget the driver who cost him his first shot at a championship.
I'm sure these guys that he's going to be working with next year don't really appreciate this because they've got a championship they can win this year and he doesn't.
Ooh, yeah, that's the line I remember. I think the guys he's
It's
going to
the
be
spring
working
of
with.
2008, and Dale
Blah, blah, blah,
Jr.
blah.
wants badly to win for his new team. He is currently in the midst of a 70-race winless streak. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is riding high in his new Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, winning 2 of the first 9 races on the season. In the final laps at Richmond, Dale Jr. is just a few miles from victory. Kyle Busch, however, has other plans.
He's going to wreck him.
Oh, he turned it! No!
And he full-on turned straight into him too.
You know what, Daryl? I saw the wheels on the 18 car turn to the right
Yeah.
just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
One could say that the end of this race profoundly shaped the next
You
few
can
years
see
in
it.
NASCAR. Kyle Busch finished 2008 with 8 victories and was instantly rocketed to public enemy
See him
number
smash
1
a
in the
guitar.
sport.
A
Yeah.
lot of people hated it.
That's interesting. I don't know. Somebody let me know what that's about as well.
For Dale Jr., the incident
What'd he
would
say?
mark the beginning to public enemy number 1 in the sport.
A lot of people hated it. You know, I guess those are the ones with 88s tattooed on their arm.
For Dale Jr., the incident would mark the beginning of the worst stretch of his career. After 2008, Jr. would not see victory lane for the next 3 seasons.
Wow.
In some cases, revenge can end up having far more influence than just a petty comeuppance.
Yeah.
It can go on to define a driver's legacy. This event cemented Kyle Busch as a
the
dominant
villain.
and Dale
He's
Jr.
the heel
as a
of
lovable
NASCAR, you
underdog
know?
who could never seem to catch a break. 2 perceptions that neither driver could ever really overcome. Do you think that if Dale and Kyle could go back to this moment, history could have
It's a
turned
hell
out
of a
differently?
photo.
Well, the next time they went to Richmond, history repeated itself instead.
Bang, turned him. He full-on went to the right as well.
Revenge in NASCAR can greatly influence how we perceive other drivers.
Absolutely.
But very rarely does it influence the actual
I think we're
outcome of
gonna.
the
No, we're
season.
not. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Sorry, I'm so focused on it.
Newman is going to
I was just like, 2 videos or 3? We'll do 2.
We said what would drivers do to make it happen. We just saw
Excuse
what they
me.
would do.
In 2014, NASCAR introduced the controversial elimination-style playoff
Yeah,
format. and
very
unintended
unpopular in my
consequence of
comment
which
sections
was
at the
giving
very
drivers
least.
tremendous leverage and potentially spoiling the competition. If you're going to have a feud in NASCAR, you absolutely do not want to start one in the playoffs.
No.
So let's talk about
No,
Martinsville.
that's the worst
The oldest
place.
remaining track on the NASCAR schedule
In any
really
sport.
shows from its unique design. Remember Turn 11 from Sonoma? Well, double it back, and that's basically the entire Martinsville racetrack.
Oh, wow,
Of course,
alright.
the close quarters racing creates the
Well, that
perfect
goes
breeding
good.
ground for tempers to flare. With the added pressure of the playoffs, the fall Martinsville race turns the intensity up to 11. Denny
Right.
Hamlin had always been one of NASCAR's most consistent drivers, but he could never
That's
quite put it together
interesting.
when it counted most. Every time he found himself in position to contend for the championship, he would always end up suffering some inexplicable mishap. Heading into the 2017 playoff race at
Unfortunate.
Martinsville, he's sitting 6th in points. If he wants to advance to the championship finale,
He needs to
he's
bump
going to
that
have
up
to
a bit.
catch a serious break. Chase Elliott is in quite a different place than Denny. He's not just looking for his first career championship, he's looking for his first career win. At age 21, he's in just
He's
his
doing
second
much better
full-time
now.
Cup season. But the expectations surrounding him are about as high as any other prospect the sport has ever
Yeah,
seen.
because he's Bill Elliott's
Chase
son.
Elliott is a part of racing royalty. The son of NASCAR legend Bill Elliott, he
Yeah.
has spent the past half-decade as NASCAR's most anticipated young star.
That makes sense,
By
really.
2017, he's next
In
in
the
line
mold
behind
of Dale Jr.
as the sport's perennial most popular driver. But more than 70 races into his Cup career, he still has yet to win at NASCAR's highest level.
Doing well, though. He's getting up
Today at
there in the
Martinsville,
finishes.
Chase has a pretty good shot at finally
Justifying
breaking
his
through
spot.
to victory lane. Winning here wouldn't just validate the talent of the young phenom, it would punch his ticket to the championship race. He's led over 100 laps so far, and with just 4 laps to go, he pulls ahead of the field and looks to be cruising to a fairy tale ending.
And who fucks him?
The driver behind him is Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin.
He is not about to let another opportunity go to waste.
The bumper to the back of the 24!
See you later, he says. Like Cheek on the King or whatever, or on Lightning McQueen in this case, because he's a rookie.
Did not win on this day, but luckily for our story, neither did Hamlin. Denny swung for the fences in the closing laps of this race, but in doing so, he just made himself the biggest target in NASCAR.
Yeah.
Racing hard for the win here, Denny. What happened? Trying to get a race win, but you know it's everybody wrecked everyone there at the end. I'm not sitting here saying that I wrecked them on purpose, and tried to move them out of the way and spun out.
You did though.
It's now one race before the championship.
All right, let's pause it there.
And I'll show you my patrons. Those are my patrons. They're people that give me money. It's the first of the month right now, so perfect time for you to give me money as well. That would be sick if you could. Links at the top of the description. Link to this video we're reacting to, reminder again, is at the bottom of the description. But yeah, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to start the next recording and stuff, and we're going to watch the end of this because I'm enjoying it and whatnot. I'll see you when I look at you. Don't forget to hit subscribe. You'll see me when you look at me. Thanks so much for watching.